fun begins.
Hello! Oh, just in time to... Hello and welcome to the council. We begin tonight's meeting, the council, by calling the council to order. Hello to everyone, thank you for joining us. The council's a live Twitch talk show and podcast discussing Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm Elise, and with me are my fellow council members. Finally read that, but I didn't get to say Redness Chair, and I'm so crushed by that.
We were so hoping. We really were.
Missed opportunity. Sakari, oh look at you in the number 2 spot.
I'm in number 2 this week. Yes, hello everyone. Glad to have you here.
And Magic Ace.
And Magic Baby, I'm feeding her banana. That's why I'm not paying attention to the camera. I apologize.
Regular day in the life, right? That's what we're doing.
So we are going to talk about streaming Star Wars: The Old Republic, and we'll probably be bringing in other games, but we're not just talking about other games. We're mainly, since we have 3 SWTOR streamers here, that's what we're going to mostly be focusing on. But we will bring some other games in for the discussion. Exciting.
Super
right.
exciting. And the bright side is after this live episode, you can find our recorded episodes anywhere they're found, like YouTube or our Facebook or our website or our Patreon. And yes, our Patreon has lots of excellent stuff for you guys, just so you know. Keep that in mind. I just realized you can hear Magic.
She sounds hilarious.
Straight up, we can hear her. It's like she's got the mic. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
So we're doing something slightly different this week in that we are doing a chat focus poll and a poll I just sent out on Twitter. So hopefully my co-hosts have retweeted the poll. If not, if you could do that, that'd be great. We invite folks to vote on Twitter, but then if you're in the chat room, we'd like you to vote in chat on the poll.
Yeah, so I put the link in chat. If you want to right-click it, I guess, and go to open as a different window or something, open as a different tab. That way you won't have to leave the stream to go vote in it. You can just do that in another tab and then close that tab, and you'll stay with us the whole time. Hopefully that's helpful to people. So, yeah, definitely everybody let us know what you think. We'd love to have you in our poll for the night.
We're doing something slightly different. I wanted to see if we can trying to do one of those kind of like when streamers or, when they do it at E3 or whatever, when they're live polling during the show. So
what I really need to do is find some way to be able to tally the votes as they come in. That would be awesome. That's what we really need to do. So yes, so what we're going to do, the basic layout for tonight is that we're going to ask the poll up front. We're going to talk about it here as well, but so we'll outline all of the options, jump to Twitter, go give us your answer. And then at the end of the show, which gives us some time for it to come in, at the end of the show, we will discuss the results. But I believe we're going to have the Twitter poll open for approximately 40 minutes, correct, Elise? Is that what we'd settled on?
32 minutes are left now.
Okay.
I started it at 40, but there are now only 32 minutes left.
Okay, so there are 32 minutes if you would like to jump in. That is the time frame for the evening.
Yes.
All right, Magic, would you like to tell people where they can find us?
She already did that.
I mean, kind of, but then again, I kind of already did. So I could tell you guys we have a website, and then we have our YouTube. And we have Patreon, and you can generally just use your search engine and find us. But really, it's important that you find us on Twitter and Facebook. Those are the really important ones.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Really
Unless you do have some sort of conscience, in which case you're not on Facebook in the first place.
Hey, I have a Magic Ace Facebook. Leave me alone, okay? People can look at screenshots there. That's pretty much all I post. Anyways, that's not the point. Topic here.
Yes. Okay. So moving on to the icebreaker, which of course is a question just to get the chat started, as if we need any help with that. So this one's a little longer than usual, but I wanted to kind of make sure that I expressed it right. So As you know, we're talking about streaming tonight and all of the implications involved with that. So the question is, for most of us, there is no big payoff to streaming and or podcasting. Like if you're like me, there's no payoff. Most of the time it ends up actually costing us money. So in light of that, what is the reason that you stream and or podcast? I put podcast because at least that includes you. Because you do. I mean, like, hey, you do this stream, so this counts. Right. You do this. So what is
another one too?
What is what is the reason that you do this, and what makes it worth doing? Magic, I'm sure that you have a great reason.
Well, when I started streaming, it was because I had been approached by a Mr. Redna about starting a show with 2 other people to possibly be a SWTOR show for live show and podcast. Cough, cough, count SWTOR. We did not have a name yet at the time. We brainstormed that later, but I was like, yeah, I'm flattered. That sounds great. I would love to broaden my horizons and do something awesome like that. So I was like, I am super freaking nervous. We're like 3 months from our first live show, and I feel like I'm going to die because it's going to be on the internet forever. So I need to break my nerves. So someone suggested, you should stream. And I was like, I can't stream. And like 10 people were like, yeah, you can. It'll be great. You should do that. So I did. And the reason why I stayed to streaming was because I met some really great people and had a pretty awesome little community in my little chat. And I love the people on Twitter that are like, oh, I saw this Magic Ace and I thought about you because of what you said in your stream. And I stayed for the people, but I started because I didn't want to be nervous when I started the show. So
Is that really why you started?
That's exactly why I started
to work
streaming.
on your nerves?
Yes, because I was like I don't know.
It's like
what
practicing your public speaking so that you don't get nervous in front of a crowd.
I was like, I'll practice before I get on the show because I can delete my streams. But
like, what is it? That's like fear therapy, right? Where you just the only way to really put yourself through dealing with your fear is to just go deal with it. So
it's exposure therapy, I think, is what it's.
Exposure therapy. Wow. Magic.
Well,
I have.
thought it would be great to not, puke on live TV internet. So I thought I would work on that.
Well, I have profound respect for that answer. That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Redna, what about you? Why do you do it, my friend?
I don't know. Which is the one that is because I like pain? Sadism or masochism?
Can you please tell us what your latest stream was? You were streaming
receiving the pain.
Like last night or the night before. You were doing a very interesting stream. I've never seen anybody do anything like that. And I thought it was such an interesting experiment.
I'm bored. I did a second one even, and I actually redid it today at lunch. It was, well, the first one was the second half of the rules by which a great empire may be reduced. And then the most recent one was Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death. Because I got this book, the U.S. Constitution and Other Writings, and I got a new baby that I'm trying to read to every night.
Picked her up when he got the book too.
So
Yeah.
I decided I could stream that because I've been really inconsistent with my streaming since the baby came along. So I'm sharing what I'm reading. All you get to see is the top of the back of her head, but I guess it's more of the baby than I ever intended on showing.
Because you have one of those baby mount things, right? Those saddles that they basically ride you.
Front, back,
You're the mount basically, and they So all you see is like the top of BG's head, and then you're reading. I presume because it's good for the baby to hear, right? And then you're live streaming it while you're at it.
Anything because I read a lot of different stuff to her. So I bought a big book of well, I don't know if you've heard of Hans Christian Andersen, but he's kind of the Scandinavian Brothers Grimm, except his stuff isn't necessarily quite as dark as the Brothers Grimm.
Right.
Doesn't everybody know Hans Christian Andersen?
I don't know.
You'd be
I
surprised.
Everybody who's been to public high school does.
So, wasn't he right? Ugly Duckling. Wasn't that Hans Christian Andersen was Ugly Duckling and some of those other old stories that we.
The Little Mermaid and.
So everybody knows him. They just don't know them. So I imagine that your reason for streaming has got to be quite unique. in light of things like that?
Realistically, the reason I stream for anything is because I like interacting with the people in the chat room. I've been really happy to go ahead and permanently ban people from my chat room that have nefarious intentions, because that's not the kind of environment I like to have. But I really like, even so obviously I've been live streaming operations groups for Star Wars The Old Republic for the longest time, and probably 75% of the reason I enjoy doing that is because the people in the chat room are either A, learning, or B, teaching me how to do whatever it is I'm trying to do better. And I like being able to interact with people, and it's similar to Magic's experience, although mine also kind of is born from having podcasted years ago with Utini Cast, and so I was doing that in order to play with some of them, and then I was live streaming because I was going to so many different gaming conventions. It was another way to continue to engage and interact with people that I would meet. And then honestly, there's something that I just enjoy it. I don't know. I'm naturally a bit of an introvert, and it's a way to kind of put on the persona and do something that engages me with other people. So kind of all of that.
And you get the benefit of the power button afterwards.
Turn you off.
I can practice being a grandparent, where I will eventually be able to send the child home at the end of the day.
That's hilarious.
But the flip side too is I think the reason I got into it the most originally was actually Extra Life, which I know we'll be advertising towards the end of the stream. But Extra Life being an extraordinary way. The reason Extra Life was started was so that people that played video games and streamed, or even like made a living off of playing video games, would have an opportunity to contribute back to their communities. And so doing a charitable live stream and raising money to help local hospitals was a huge incentive for me, particularly because after I did it once and I'd only raised $200 or $300. But then the hospital emailed me directly, showed me pictures of some of the kids that had been impacted by the money that I had been able to raise, which totally incentivized me to come back the next year and double how much I brought in.
As we usher a kid unceremoniously from Elise's stream. I just love the irony in that. It's like, kick him out. We love kids.
So I think
that's awesome.
Thing. And I like creating a little bit of a safe space for people of like minds to be able to enjoy, even talking to each other. Sometimes if the chat room gets a bit too lively, or I'm really focused during a boss fight, I completely miss 5 minutes of what's going on in the chat room. But the chat room itself actually engages with one another. They start answering questions for me. I can
yeah, they're as much of a community with each other as they are with you, and that's really cool. Yeah.
So I just that's what I like. It's the closest thing to social media that I actually enjoy. I think that Facebook is. I genuinely actually believe that it is a bad thing for society. It really does more harm than good. And I think that the way that a lot of people use Twitter, could be argued the same. But the ability to kind of create a community online, a social group, and contribute and interact with, and then actually be engaged in a real way. I mean, people can come and talk politics in my chat room, and we can actually have a conversation with vastly different opinions, but it doesn't have to devolve into calling people racists, It's
right.
Someone in my chat took it straight to wishing people would die, and I was like, you know what? How about the weather? Does anybody know the sunshine and the clouds and anything other than this?
Well, and anybody that wishes death on another person is instantly banned from my chat room, so that's perfectly fine.
I was like, let's talk about literally anything else, anything.
I think it's amazing that there are some people, this is a total sidebar, there are some people that you have to evict from your community in order to keep your community. I just find that it's ironic, but it's interesting that people bring the good and the bad, and if you want the good, you've got to kick out the bad, but that's people, Anyway, that's my musing. Elise, what about you? So you're more into the podcast type of thing. This is about the most you get out of streaming, but it is still streaming. You are a part of this effort. So let me ask you, what do you get out of this? What is your What do
The
you
council?
your takeaway?
Or
Well,
or
both.
podcasts?
You're both
Or
for the
both?
council and the other one that you do.
Well,
VCR.
right. I like talking about video games. The reason why I got interested in this one is I really do like having the four kind of different perspectives. We overlap, but everybody always seems to have at least somewhat of a different opinion. I really enjoy that. So I could have done it not on stream and just a podcast, but we decided to go this way.
Yeah, the live aspect.
So that's why, I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll deal. I like, obviously, I'm a video game enthusiast, like, wine enthusiasts or lore enthusiasts. So
Wine enthusiast. We might have a resident wine enthusiast with us.
okay. So for me, being able to talk about something that I spend a lot of time thinking about or doing research about or reading articles about or whatever is interesting, I like to kind of have an idea of what other people think about similar topics, much like you gravitate to communities of people who share a similar interest, right? So
Right.
it's just I enjoy writing, so that's why I like to write about it. I also like to go to the conventions, similar to what Redna was saying. And since everybody can't go, I'm happy to bring back, what I've seen. And yeah, so other people have, at least a window in of some sort. So I like video games. I like talking. So although I've been told a couple of times that people weren't aware that I talk as much as I do because I don't talk as much on this show. That's when I'm not.
Well, that's because you can't. With the three of us, you can't get a word in edgewise. Just say it. It's true.
I was gonna say if you hit one of our tangent buttons, there's no words in edgewise. One of us just goes off, and they were like, "Oh yeah, there's three other people." Okay, try
Yeah.
again.
No kidding.
So yeah, so there you go. That's why.
Well,
It's just streaming for me has just not really been my.
Yeah, you've kind of you have humored us valiantly. How about I say that in doing this show?
I have streamed. I think JT moderated a few that I did with Mass Effect 3. It's just I can't play and then talk to people at the same time.
Yeah,
So
That's why I play content that I've already played multiple
Right.
times, so that I'm not missing anything. And I make sure and play it 4 or 5 times before I go through. Like I just hit like level 56 on Overwatch. Now I'm like, now I can start streaming. Because now I know who some of these. If I couldn't say the names of the characters, I wasn't going to stream. Because I'd be like, that guy, the one with the bow and arrow, yeah, that one. So now that I know all the names of the characters, now I'm like, I can stream. Oh, my daughter hates me.
Well, the Emperor is in Overwatch, Reinhardt. That's the same voice actor as the Emperor in Star Wars: The Old Republic.
I hate Reinhardt so much. I get into the wall all the time because I'm always a healer. Or today I started playing as Symmetra and I was killing him with turrets and he got mad and pinned me to the wall and killed me. And I was like, I'm not gonna cry.
It's actually an interesting point you make, at least the talking thing, because that was something that I just kind of had thrown out when I first started streaming and started to get people to watch. And then, of course, one of the first things that starts happening is that then people come in and ask you, well, how did you do that? And one of the things that I always tell everybody is, oh, well, just make sure you engage your chat room, talk to them a lot. And then I started getting a lot of people coming back to me and saying, I don't know how to do that. And and then I realized there's actually different ways to do your streams. Some people have the ability. It is something that I can do with multiple monitors and setting things up right. I tend to be able to engage with the chat room a lot, but a lot of people can't. A lot of other people actually, and some people that watch prefer this anyway, is that the person can just talk while they're playing, keep a running commentary or description, or just explain what you're doing as you're doing it, so that they have you to engage
I just loudly
even
talk
if you
to
don't
myself.
speak back. Right, exactly. There are different ways, and then some people actually don't even want to talk at all because they just want to do their playthroughs that they can upload to YouTube, so that people can watch the great BioWare storytelling. I am definitely the type that 100% rages in comments at the storytelling.
Yeah.
necessarily.
I honestly spacebar through in my streams. I'm like, if you're new here, tell me now. And nobody says they're new. I'm like, all right, I'm spacebarring through this crap because I've seen it all like 600 times. Wait. I get through. I'm like, all
Which
right.
is that's so interesting to me, Magic, because you spacebar stuff because you're like, okay, we don't need to clutter this. Yeah. I watch everything.
I know. That's
because
why
I know there's a
stream on to listen to and not watch because I can't watch those cutscenes again.
Yeah, but indeed, which is interesting to me because like I think that I mean I don't maybe I should start spacebarring, but I have always just assumed that if I'm playing the game, somebody's going to derive some benefit from actually watching the game. But but it's interesting.
I'm like, speak now or hold your peace.
I actually
that's fascinating to me that
there's the opposite, which is. If you don't want to be spoiled, tell me now, because otherwise we'll watch this.
All right. So let me answer this real quick. Speaking of the spoilers, I one of the things I appreciate about my community is that I can get on and stream like the brand new release content, and they've all played it already that afternoon. And by the time I'm streaming it later on in the evening, they know what's coming, but they don't want to spoil it for me, so they kind of sit there and watch it, which is really cool.
It's hard to not spoil things, though.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I watched a guy play Mass Effect through the first time, and I was like, oh, don't do that. Don't do it. And they're like, shut up, don't spoil it. I'm like, don't do it.
And that right there is the reason why I don't watch a ton of streaming, because if I want to play the game, I'm not going to spend my time watching someone else play it.
Right. I'm
going to play the game. So I really don't watch streams or even YouTube videos, which I make more of than streaming. Of a game that I want to play, because it's just it's bad.
Yeah,
I've played Andromeda 4 times through and only streamed it twice, so I'm still not to the point where I'm ready to stream it because I'm listening for certain things. So I don't want to be distracted when I'm playing through, and I want to pay attention.
Yeah, for me,
Sakari, you do something entirely different than the rest of us, though, because you've got your whole this presentation, show, scheduling, layout, format thing that you do too.
Yes.
With your in-chat games and currencies and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So that is a new.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about it.
Really good
I'm trying to think about how I want to unpack that. So I'll just say this: when we started the council, in fact, this long before that, when I had created the layouts for my own stream. I was doing a lot of web design, a lot of graphic layouts with web design and Photoshop and all of those things. And when I got into streaming, and I can't even remember how I did that. I just tried it. I mean, I was like as trepidatious as it would be for everyone else, but I thought, hey, I can probably leverage that to create some designs for things, and then did that. Which kind of, when it came to putting a show together, Ed and I were talking, a summer ago about, hey, we'd like to do a show. Who else would be good for it? That's where you guys came into things. But I was like, hey, I think I can use this to put a live stream show together. One of the things I was excited about was that we have a lot of podcasts in our community. We have a lot of people that do YouTube type stuff. But to my knowledge, I didn't know, and I know that Utinicast was doing live recordings of things, but I didn't think that they were doing it for Twitch. They were doing that on the side.
They have a podcast that they live stream the recording of.
Right, and I think Bad Feeling does it now too. So, but that it was always an incidental. Like they do it, and they allow people to be there, and they interact with chat even on their podcast and stuff. But I wanted to do, and I just thought, hey, let's switch those around. Let's do a show that's actually for Twitch, and then we can put it on and then do the podcast on the side. And actually, interesting enough, we have a lot of people that actually listen to the podcast version, so everybody can consume it how they want. But we just wanted to prioritize things a little differently, which is why I'm so very thankful for Elisa's patience getting sucked into this world.
And I can say there had been one. Just shout out to Larry Everett, because he did have the Republic back in the day, which I had been a guest on several occasions, and so had various other content creators like Volk and some of the people that were familiar with the day. But when the it was at the time, it was just called MMO Champion, I think. That site got sold by Amazon and then basically shut down, and so they had to restart. and they decided to not continue that show. And I was constantly, even having just been a guest on that show, I knew when you thought of the idea for the video first premise, there was a lot more people that were still reaching out to me on occasion saying, hey, whatever happened to the Republic? I know you were on that a few times. I was like, man, that wasn't even my show. But obviously there's a desire here. Because there is, I think there's different types of peoples, and this is where streaming really comes in. There are people that like to watch live streams. Like, the live stream is different than the YouTube crowd, like singularly different. And it is different from the podcasting crowd. There are people that like, and most podcasts that have a live stream, it's podcast first. Like, they're thinking about their audio listeners first. They're constantly, if there is a visual that they incorporate into the show, they make painstaking detail to describe and include the audio rendition of that for their podcast, right? As opposed to,
which we don't do at all. sorry to our listeners.
And the vast majority don't engage.
We love you guys
at all either. You know, like we at least try to step in, and just like on my personal live stream, if somebody says something particularly telling, I try to make sure that I give them a shout out and give them credit for having contributed a little something that was worth mentioning on the show. And that's a lot of fun. That's something you can't do when you're doing pre-recorded video. It's not something you can do when you're doing pre-recorded audio. It's only something you can do in a live environment. And it is very different, but I find very enjoyable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, Elise, how much time do we have left on the poll? Are you able to let us know? I have the poll here, but I'm not sure that I'm seeing it, or the time that is left. But
9 minutes.
Okay, so we have 9 minutes. Can we just kind of put the poll here on for our audio listeners, because everyone who's not, would have to not really know what it is that the poll is about, because assuming they're consuming this in retrospect. So for their case, let's talk about what the poll question and answers are.
So the poll was, now it's slightly different than what's on Twitter, because I am character locked on Twitter.
Right.
So I had to truncate these questions severely for Twitter.
So here's what we really meant.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
How often do you watch people stream video game content? Here's the question. A is all the time. It's my favorite thing to do when I have time to watch. B, I watch my favorite streamers or the developer live stream, but that's all really. C, I watch only when there's an in-game item being offered for watching a stream. Or D, I watch only once in a blue moon. Streaming is not really my thing.
So here's the question. Are we allowed to discuss before the poll is closed how we answered it?
I don't care. I mean, we've got...
I say yes.
I want to.
All right.
We have 16 people who have voted, so which isn't bad, actually.
Okay, well, let's do it in the order. Redna, Magic, because they seem to be the two that are the most... they really want to get into this. And then we'll do me and then you, Elise.
And I would say we've talked a lot about the deliberation already, I think, in the icebreaker, as we are wont to do.
No kidding. You couldn't hold us back if you wanted to. Redno, how did you answer this question?
So hold on, real quick. I think we should we're going to do this, and then it's going to we're going to segue into the official deliberation. That
sounds fair. Okay, absolutely. Redna, how did you answer the poll?
It's somewhere between streaming isn't my thing or only if I get some loot. But realistically, the only reason that I get the loot is because one of my friends had me put it up, and I happened to be in when they were doing a poll, so I threw my name out, and I have smuggler's luck. So really, streaming isn't my thing. I love to stream. Watching it, I could be playing games. I could be playing or streaming myself. I care less about watching other people play.
Right.
So I'm the oddball that has zero interest in engaging in the type of content that I create. Which is also why stopping by your stream, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? This is something out of the deep end. And he's got segments, and his people this bot is telling them that they've got X currency for the month.
Oh,
I don't know what's going on, and it's
I
insulting
hate
them.
my
He's got an
bots.
insulting bot, and
I had Overseer Harkin. This is all Lady Danny. I have to credit her for this, but we made a
People get
bot.
so mad in your stream. That was hilarious.
We made a bot in my stream and gave it the personality of Overseer Harkin, and it would legitimately start fights with people. They would like get all mad, and they'd be good. I'm like, hey, it's a bot. It's all just scripted. Oh, that was so much fun. And then I've also got those of you who haven't seen my live stream, I've got my hand doing this, and I put it like an orb of power going in it, but it's all just a graphic layout. But then I'm playing the game, but I've got this thing going, and then people are like, especially it's fun to catch new people because they get in there like, how are you playing one-handed? What is that you're holding? And then after a little while I actually have two real hands that I'm playing the game with, and then it's the cat's out of the bag, and it's a lot of fun, so. But I mean, that's half the fun is having a good time with people.
I never get to watch your streams anymore, but on the rare occasion when I do get to pop in for just a minute and I see someone say that, I'm like, every time, really? Nobody figures out that's an overlay or a graphic?
Well, no. And then Magic, tell us how you answered the poll.
What were my things again? Let me gotta find it. I had the answer. I answered it. Okay, here it is. All right. I say I watch my favorite streamer when they're streaming Star Wars, and on occasion the developer live stream. So I guess kind of B.
Okay.
But like, it depends on who the streamer is. So this is a little more difficult. It depends on who the streamer is because, like, I tried to watch your Subnautical, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah,
so like, I would
fine.
have you on in the background, so I have like I'm listening, but I'm not watching. And I'm like playing my own game or whatever. So mostly like if you're not playing Star Wars, I'm not really watching. Sorry, full disclosure, but like Redna, when he's playing Hearthstone stuff, same thing. Like I'm just like, no, thank you. So I'll be supportive and have you guys on the background and not watch at all. So
Hearthstone,
as far as,
I have no idea what is going on in that game. I don't have a clue, but it just looks so pretty. Hearthstone I'll watch for a few minutes just because it looks so cool.
I played it to get a mountain WoW, and that was it. I got my horse and I never played again. I was done. Right. So yeah.
That's like
so
why
my
I played WoW.
thing,
I did that free 1 through 20 experience just to get the card back in Hearthstone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, perks and all that. So the other thing, like if it's a game I already like or someone's playing and I already know I like it, I'll watch it. With the rare exception of like Kid Lee, I can watch pretty much anything he streams, but same with Snicker and like anything Volk streams I can watch. But a lot of the other people I watch that are primarily SWTOR, whenever they stream something else, I can't really watch because I'm like, no, I wanted SWTOR. You're not giving it to me.
Yeah, so you're watching more for the game than anything else. That's
well, it depends. Yeah, it depends on what I'm in the mood for. Like if I'm wanting to see something else, but like I won't lie, when Kid Lee plays WoW, I can't watch. So sorry, Kid Lee.
She's breaking everyone's hearts tonight.
Sorry.
I've heard that is a danger to people who start out and become very well known for one particular game. That it's very hard for them to switch to a different one, and if it's a game that suddenly is not popular anymore, and you're sliding down the, what do they call it, the directory, I guess, in Twitch, and that's something that's important to you, then that becomes a problem. Gothalion just did that with Destiny.
Tried something else and basically shot himself in the foot.
Well, and no, basically what he had to do is he had to get on YouTube and basically say, look, this is why I'm doing this, because that is his income. He's like got 1 million, 2 million like subs, and that is his job. And so he's like, I have to diversify because I'm not getting enough views and stuff to support myself. And that's always a danger, that people come for the game, not necessarily the person.
So there are definitely people, even that was Ron Allen in the chat room mentioned that he prefers to just watch SWTOR, but his favorite SWTOR streamers, he'll watch whatever they're streaming. Mm-hmm. And I think that's actually, to be perfectly frank, if you want to make it a career or like your livelihood, it's got to be much more about cult of personality than the game you're playing. Like,
Agreed,
you have to be able to create something where you've got these people that enjoy your presence, your personality, what you contribute to the stream, regardless of what you're playing. Because otherwise, it's just, no game is going to last forever.
Which means I'm screwed.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I really prefer YouTube. If I ever have a chance, I will watch people's Twitch stream on YouTube.
Yeah.
I watch YouTube videos all the time. All day long, I have them on in my background. For some reason, YouTube is much better because I have issues with Twitch. Twitch hates me. But
yeah, it's all live streams. It's buffering and
yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, it's the constant.
YouTube's infrastructure, I think, is a lot. YouTube is Google, right? So I mean, their infrastructure. Google has a network, and then so you can't come close. That's why YouTube is so much more reliable, and that's understandable.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
also YouTube is pre-recorded; it's not live.
Right, exactly. So I mean, I just don't have the mechanical issues that I do with Twitch.
Yeah.
But I just like the choice of having something pre-recorded over streaming. But I did watch Mass Effect. I watched one of the Mass Effect producers actually play. He had never played the first 3 Mass Effect games. They moved him from Dragon Age to Mass Effect, and so he played the first 3 games.
Total noob, full noob.
It was hysterical. He killed Rex. I couldn't and the chat room lit him up.
I've never killed Rex.
There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun streaming noob. Like when you're like, I've never done this before.
He didn't do it. He kept Ashley, and Ashley did it. But I mean, it was just like we razzed him for the rest of the time he played, and it would come up over and over again because it was just
the
sticks. Community and the producer was
Rex was
just
the
really
Krogan,
good.
right?
Yeah,
he had that really deep beard.
Yes. Oh my God.
Rumbling.
Yes. He's probably one of the most beloved characters in the original Mass Effect trilogy. And it's just.
I mean, Ashley died in the first one for me, so that wasn't even a choice to be had.
You want to get a hard time over doing something? Try killing Torian in front of Jem, who is in chat right now. You do that, and you will.
I'm like, says that they're like, oh, Vet is Bay. I'm like, I'm done. Goodbye.
There's a war. It starts a fight in chat. Absolutely.
That went down for me. Mm-hmm.
Killing Torian. That's like killing Theron. You heartless jerks.
Who's the other one other than Torian?
Vet. You choose between them. Yeah.
Wait, you're talking about SWTOR.
Yeah. Thought this was, we had meandered away, and then I brought us back. But then
that's one of those post-Kotet things, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's kind of in there, kind of closer to the end. Yeah.
Yes, it's in coffee. That's why I'd asked you.
I totally killed Torian then. If I had to choose between Torian and Vet, it would be Vet every day. She's actually one of the only interesting female characters in the game.
So my answer to this question was a straight. Let me put it up a second here again. A straight D. I watch only once in a blue moon. Streaming is not really my thing. That is how I would answer. And I think, Red, you and I are very similar in that, aren't we? That's kind of where you are, what you were saying? Remind me? You love to be a content producer. I love streaming. I hate watching streams.
Yes, I forgot to say what I had planned before the show to say. What I meant to say was, I'm sure everyone's heard the saying that those that can do, and those that can't teach. Well, those that can, I stream. I don't watch.
You have to make it. Yeah, you have to make it the other way around, just so it sounds humble. So you have to say those who can watch, and those who can't stream.
That's right. That's right.
There you go.
it's a total negative, right? Because I have no attention span. So basically, I have to have like 15 things going on at once. One being my stream, another being my game, another being the chat room, just to keep me engaged into the whole thing. Yeah. So that's I can't just sit and focus on just the chat room or a streamer. Like, no, that's too hard.
Yeah.
See.
I'll drop by. I love to drop by and say, hey, how are you doing? Watch for a few minutes, kind of chat up, have a great time, kind of, but I can't for a prolonged amount of time watch someone stream. Now, the only
That's why
time
I have people on in the background. I'm trying to support you, but
yeah.
I have to get up and go do things and get up 10 times, or I have to play Andromeda one more time through. Like, I've got stuff going on.
There is an exception for me though.
That's why I can't
Sakari's channel
I just don't have the time
online to get the gift prime sub button. Show chat room, and then I walk out of the room, but let him keep my viewer number.
Yes, you are good to me. Speaking of, I should probably start tuning in to other people's. I don't watch other people enough to actually gift my Prime sub. I'm sitting on it. I'm like,
I know you've been telling me for months. You're like, oh, I'm gonna do that. And I'm like,
yeah. Like, when are you streaming? I'm never on Twitch but then again, I'm never really on Twitch. That's the thing. And I've been streaming a lot less than I really should be lately. I should repent of that.
Yes.
In all truth.
Shame Sakari, everybody. Shame Sakari.
I should mention, for those people that care about my stream at all, I have actually also done cooking live streams, because I have remote.
I watched you do that liquor that you did the one time, or whatever, the picateo or whatever.
Redna does a lot of liquor. I'm just gonna say. Sorry, bad joke.
He's like, I've got it all.
Like, there's a bunch of fun little stuff. So that's the thing I've started trying to do, is just, it's like, I do enjoy the streaming, and so I just have found ways to try and be creative. In fact, I even got that camera back out because I figure on nights where I'm really drunk, I can actually take the camera out to the backyard and plug it in and just wander around the backyard shouting whatever I'm reading out loud.
People are like, what is this guy doing? It's very creative. Where are his pants?
Say 10 or 11 p.m. on the west coast of the United States, and you see my stream live, I may well be wandering drunk in my background.
Yeah, I had a notification from you the other day at like 2 a.m. I'm like, go to bed. Some of us have a life. We
so,
need to sleep.
As far as we have meandered from tonight's topic, watch me try to bring it in. So, Elise, I know we're running out of time desperately here. What did you want to touch on specifically with regard to the streamer relationship and the companies and the community? I know there was some of that.
They make money. The end.
Well, wow. Nice. Okay. I was unprepared for that baseball you threw at me.
Yeah, there you go. Think quick.
So what I wanted us to maybe touch on is people's thoughts about how perhaps they feel that streaming has influenced games and how games has influenced streaming, essentially. You could wrap all that up into essentially that.
Because it is mutual. It should be mutual.
It is and it's not.
Well, to a certain extent, part of it, though, is actually with the burgeoning esports environment, what you see is, and this is generally true, the games that have the most streamers are generally competitive games where they have some sort of esports presence. And the biggest streamers are usually those that are actually professionally gaming and making money from succeeding at gaming. Now, there is a small community of commentators that can actually, like, they will comment on the game, like the football commentators during a football game, and they can get good coverage as well. And then there's the tournaments that are actually hosted and sponsored, and they've got their professional commentators as well. And that's all done on Twitch more often than not. So there is, in that sense, it's directly impacting the games, right? And in fact, it's a boatload of free advertising until the company decides it wants to put in a purse. But I would be willing to wager that purse is actually coming from revenue that's generated because of the live streaming environment that's already been successful.
So I would say that is one. Another kind of pillar of the streaming community that you'll see are people who do like how-tos for the community, not necessarily from a professional standpoint.
Guides,
people
guides and
guides. So SWOTORista would be a good example for SWOTOR. In Destiny, there are several streamers that got their notoriety on basically teaching how to people to PvP in Destiny, let's say. So there's some that there's one person in that community who just streams raid runs. And that, like, he would take new players into raids and he would stream them all day long for like 8 hours a day. And that was his thing.
That's cool. So he actually brought his community in and took them through the raids.
Well, he not just his community. I mean, if he's doing 8 hours of raids every day, he's taking, you go into his chat and there's a lottery of whether or not you get to be one of the
How cool is that? Yeah.
To run the raid, and
right.
he's run it so much that he could take anybody through it.
So you raid leads, and as long as you are competitive enough, competent enough to be able to do as you're told, you're good to go. You know, like stand here, don't stand in stupid, be there at this time, etc.
Right, because I was going to say, if they're not good enough about staying out of stupid, an 8-hour stream could be just one raid.
Indeed. There you go. Hey, they provide your content for you. No kidding.
So you also have that kind of a dynamic of they might not be huge like Ninja from Fortnite's numbers, but they're maybe a couple 100,000, 300,000, 400,000, which is a lot. But
still not
right. By the way, look at what Kid Lee puts in chat. Of the top 10 games, 9 of them are esports related or have esports relationships. So I think that's fascinating. Thank you, Kid Lee. He's actually helping out our show behind the scenes. He's telling me my mic is too loud. So I repented of that earlier because Kid Lee convicted me. So, thank you, Kid Lee. We appreciate having you here, bud.
Smack, get your stuff together, card,
right.
Smack.
And that's one of the reasons why we have more companies jumping in on the streaming thing. So Steam made an announcement that they're going to be jumping into the streaming game.
They're well positioned for it because there is a massive community. Who would have thought that there are, in fact, there was commentary. I was listening to talk radio today in response to this recent Madden shooting that has happened. And we're all sorry to have heard that happened. But the idea that, you know, and I was listening to a talk show guy today unpack the idea, wow, that there are so many people that are so happy just to watch someone else play a video game. How does that even make sense? He couldn't get his mind around that. And I'm like, how is it any different to TV? You know, so if they're entertaining.
League of Legends has had like 20 to 40 million viewers at a time. Like,
what you're watching for.
If there are people watching video games, then you're kind of out of touch with society.
Well, he was getting up to speed, but to me, people watch because they derive some kind of value from a stream. Something you are doing provides them, they either like your personality, or they like the game you're playing, or they like the community, but they're there for a reason. And there's some, I hesitate to use the word need because I don't think it necessarily is a need, but there's some reason that there's something that they're derived from being there. And if there's a lot of people that derive that same thing, hey, you can turn that into some cash. But yeah, I mean, it's not foreign.
Purely because my husband has all these streamers that he watches, and I was jealous. I'm like, I need someone to watch, and that's when I found Skari. That's the only reason why I started watching streamers.
Have you guys ever gone to not to get off topic a little bit, but when we're talking about this whole kind of why people watch, have you guys ever actually gone to an esports event?
I have not.
Yes.
You've gone to one? What do you guys think of that?
I have. I've gone to a little one at PAX.
I went to one of the world, the semifinals for the World Championship for League of Legends at PAX, and it's just like going to any sports.
Exactly,
stadium.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
The enthusiasm of the fans, the electricity in the air. I mean, they're screaming when good plays are being made. Like it's pretty wild to feel that same exact electricity in the air
and the commentators are just on a sports game. They make comments and will do replays of a thing and make comments of the
and half of it is their skill at hype. You've got to, I mean, like, they are good at it, especially, you know, in esports. It's
yeah. So I think that's what it is. But the one that I really was like, wow, why didn't they do this before? Was Facebook. So I get the impression that not everybody realizes that Facebook is made to play, and they actually, I believe they've picked up, I don't think it's Overwatch League, but maybe it is. They've got the championships or something, but Facebook actually has gotten into the game and they've picked up some large game. They're going to be doing their championship semifinals.
I don't know if it's going to work on Facebook. I know they got into live streaming. Hey, everybody, you can just turn your phone on and sit in your car for 30 minutes and talk to your friends. I know they got into that, and I knew, okay, sooner or later, gaming.
YouTube Live that went live too, and none of the gamers really migrated to it. And I know that like the younger crowds don't tend to Facebook. In fact, there's even a whole incoming generation right now that's not even making Facebook accounts. They just go straight to their Instagram stuff.
It's Facebook counterculture.
Facebook owns Instagram though.
You're mentioning,
don't tell them.
Yeah. Oh, I know that, but they still don't make their account to put out.
Snapchat is really where they go.
Just previewing the world through pretty pictures, basically. But you mentioned Steam TV, which accidentally launched early at the beginning of the month, and then I think they finally have gone back live again now. Steam's the one that I do feel like if anyone's going to be able to put any kind of challenge up against Twitch to make it a more competitive market, which I would very much like to see, Steam, I feel, has the best positioning just because they're the silent but deadly competitor to both, like they sell more video games than both consoles combined. You know, and nobody thinks about it. It's like, oh, well, I'm Xbox or I'm PlayStation, except, actually the PC market.
Steam would be ruthless.
I actually have more Steam games than I do Xbox and PlayStation and Wii U games combined.
Yeah.
Right.
Not Nintendo DS, though. I have a ton for Nintendo DS.
If you make that easy enough, but part of that too is that not everybody has the simple hardware, right? But if you make it easy enough that having a camera plugged in and a microphone plugged in, and then Steam does the rest and figures it out, and next thing you know, your live stream, then they're the ones I feel that could actually create a viable competitor to Twitch. But we'll just have to
because they can link it to sales, video game sales. The Twitch basically does it like TV. It's like, hey, if you can generate enough of an audience, then we can advertise, and maybe some of that audience is going to click on that and go to our people. But essentially, the advertisers pay to have their ads up in front of so many people. That's really what's going on there. Think of what Steam would do. Like, hey, this person's playing this game. Would you like to buy this game? To me, like that kind of direct. If you like what you see, especially for people that are like, ooh, SWTOR, and SWTOR happens to be on through there, which I know it won't, it'll never be, but ooh, hey, this is really cool. I'd like to play that game. You can just buy it right there, right from the site that you're on. Which I think is really well positioned.
The only problem that there is that you're getting more game companies that are making their own version of Steam, and that you have to get your game.
Yeah, this Origin for EA.
So exactly, EA pulled all of most of their games. I know almost all but one.
Which is why I was shooting it down for SWTOR, because I knew that
was on there.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mass Effect you can get anymore. And I bought mine off of Steam back in the day.
Yeah, Magic Hubby has 2 of the games on Steam and then another one on Origin because they wouldn't let him buy the last one, I think, on Origin.
Right. So Ubisoft has done the same thing, that they're pushing stuff towards their Ubisoft Origin client. I just heard that, so we all know that Xbox is already has, what is it, Live, Xbox Live or whatever it is. And they're actually now, you can actually finance your Xbox through that service as well. So it's like your phone.
Get in debt over your Xbox.
It's like buying
all right.
from your phone company. That's the kind of the model they're using. The one that I really was sad about is that Mixer really hasn't, and I don't know if they're still working on trying to figure out their legs, but if they could have combined the population for PC and Xbox and somehow made that integrated, if they had made that cross playable, I really think Mixer would have done well, because they actually have a lot of features that are good for both person viewing and.
That was my take on Hitbox. Actually, I tried Hitbox for a little while, and I was amazed at how beautiful the interface was. Hitbox is a pleasure, but it just can't to me, at least, hey, I've not seen numbers, but my perception has been that it just can't hold a candle to Twitch. Twitch is just has just too much momentum, so who knows?
I mean, they said the same thing about MySpace, so.
All right.
It's just got to be easy enough and good enough that it can replace Twitch easily enough as well. Although at the same time, you mentioned that like EA has Origin and I guess Ubisoft is doing it. To be perfectly frank, if I do a search on Steam and the game isn't there, I don't go looking somewhere else. It's like, oh, okay, too much hassle. So that, which is fine for me because frankly, I don't want to give EA any more of my money ever again.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, maybe I'll miss them on Ubisoft, but I don't have brand loyalty to game developers the same as just having an open platform or marketplace from which I can buy my games. What I would do is go to GOG and see if the game's available DRM free, because then I know I don't have to be logged into their stupid system at the same time as just wanting to be able to play the video game. I would consider that.
Right. Well, that's like going to buy the movie on DVD, essentially. I mean,
Right.
So, I mean, look at Netflix. You got Disney positioning themselves to create their own streaming service and pulling all this stuff off of Netflix. It's not just happening in the video game, download live streaming world. So I think what we're seeing is a massive industry shift, for all of digital media that's happening. So to me, that stuff is fascinating to observe. But I just know everything's going to get expensive.
Like legit money off that, because how many people are going to like want the Disney service and the Netflix service? Like, to me, I'm like, do I want to get the Disney service where only my kids are enjoying it? Or do I want to
Amazon Prime and Hulu, and you got
I mean, that's what we're seeing already in video games. I mean, now if you want to get Dragon Age, you have to go to Origin. And I use that as an example just because I bought some and then all of a sudden I couldn't get to it anymore. I had to go through Origin. But if you have to do all these subscriptions, that's what makes me nervous. You've got a little bit here and a little bit there. And now with the changes to Twitch, you have to get Twitch Turbo. Now it's not part of Prime, and there's all these.
Which is totally viable. I mean, at the end of the day, I can go to Amazon and buy the TV show or buy the movie directly if I want to.
Right.
Or, the video game if I can buy it directly. Otherwise, if I can't, I won't play it. I mean, like I sub up to HBO Go once a year in order to get caught up on Game of Thrones, and then I unsub for that month. Because you're right, there's too many.
And they know people are doing that. Yeah.
I will remain invested in Steam. I can say that because it's not like the primary game developer. Yeah, they've got some games.
Plus, it's free until you buy.
Right, I buy it for
there's no sub, right?
And then it's the same reason why I've never heavily invested in Apple products, because I know I have to be in their little ecosystem, and quite frankly, I'd rather be separate from be able to use on any device I want. So what's going to happen is the same thing that's happened with the live streaming services between Amazon Prime and Hulu and Netflix and now the Disney Channel and whatever. People are going to figure out what's worth paying for. Companies are going to try it, and they're going to find out if they've got enough offering to get people to pay for it. Like for me, I don't think that Disney's enough for me, even if they've got Star Wars and Netflix or Marvel on there.
Now I do just pay for Boomerang, like it's $6.99 and worth every penny. Or no, it's like $5.99 I think, and worth every penny because I get to introduce my kids to all the stuff I loved as a kid and that my dad loved as his kid. I mean, come on, Johnny Quest, yeah. So that's worth it.
Johnny Quest when you were a kid? What?
Johnny Quest. He was awesome, all right?
I'll take you back to Thundercats and He-Man. That's
I've got Thundercats and He-Man on my hard drive. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I also have Silverhawks, like all of them on DVD.
Yeah.
Okay?
We can compete.
So Sakari.
Okay, so I might just happen to have an announcement or two. Thank you, by the way, everybody, for putting up with us this episode. It's been fun. So just a couple of quick announcements. As everybody knows, patch 5.9.3.2a, I have it wrong on the show notes, 0.2a, has been deployed. Basically, there's a plethora of things. I'm not going to go into what they are, but the big announcement is that you should be able to do some line of sight type stuff with your Rishi Stronghold. So go try that out, those of you who've been wanting to do that. That is out there now. Another thing is...
If you're a horrible person and killed Speedy, then just go kill yourself.
Yeah. Well, you're a horrible person, right? That's the... Mark your calendars, those of you who are interested. Extra Life this year, November 3rd is the date. So... we are currently actively, everybody's working on their events. but November 3rd is going to be the date. Usually sometime mid-morning we go live with it. It's streamed by everybody. I don't know who has signed up for this year, but it's been big in previous years with Volk and with Brian and Chuck, I think, and you. Yes, Redna's been there. Like a lot of the content producer community shows up and does it. So Extra Life is a blast. And usually we can get Musco and Charles Boyd and a bunch of people from BioWare involved as well. So it's a blast. It's a good time. We are raising money for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. That's what Extra Life benefits. So definitely be thinking about that, be getting ready for that, those of you who want. Let me grab a link real quick. I'll put it into chat while Magic is doing the thank yous. But definitely go check that out. Sign up for our team if you'd like. Be a part of things. We'd like to have you join us this year. So over to you, Magic.
Magic Baby is also giving commentary in the background, FYI. But we would like to say thank you. Thank you so much to everybody who came and hung out with us tonight and chit-chatted and lurked, especially our lurkers. Thank you for everybody who participated in our poll, both in our Twitch stream and also on Twitter. We super appreciate that. We'd also like to give a big, gigantic thank you to our Patreons. You all are epic. And the people who are even considering it, you're epic too. Thank you. For all of our haters and the people who throw shade at us on Reddit, we love you too. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, haters.
Thank you to the people who download our podcast. You all are awesome. Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of the episode. The council is adjourned. Gavel, gavel. If you'd like to reach us, you can email us at thecouncil@thecouncilswotour.com, like our Facebook page at facebook.com/thecouncilswotour. You can find Elise on Twitter at abrown35, Magic Ace at the Magic Ace, me at R3DN4, and Sakari at I am Sakari. Also, don't forget our Patreon page at patreon.com/thecouncilswotour, where patrons can catch the articles we are talking about behind the scenes and exclusive backstage access to our after show chatter. That's it for this week, guys. I was not elected to watch my people suffer and die while you discuss this invasion in a committee.
I understand.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair. How can you be on the council and not be a master?
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
Forgive me, Master.